Welcome to another Saturday of college football. This is Johnston RV Center Saturday preview presented by Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Dunaway's placing his coffee order. He is Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor here. I'm Ryan Brown. Welcome into another football Saturday. LT, how are you?
I'm good, man. I am 2 minutes early today.
I noticed. We didn't mean to shame you into that.
No, all good. I'm just sorry. I'm sending out my. I've got a million people hitting me up for picks right now.
Yeah. So it's a Dunaway. It's a big Saturday. People, you know what we've entered, Dunaway. Have you looked at the calendar this morning?
It's Locktober, and he started last night past midnight. It finished up a 3-0 Friday night on Lance'sLock.com, promo code Jim.
So shameless. My gosh, so shameless.
Got to drop the promo code in. I apologize for the coffee confusion there at the beginning, but I woke up at 5:30 a.m., sort of when LT was going to sleep. And then I rolled around in bed and fell back to sleep, as you can occasionally do if you don't have to get up. And I woke up at 8 o'clock and just now getting a little coffee in me. But I'm excited, man. I got UCLA on. They look good. Them and USC, LT's Trojans are the only unbeaten teams left in the Pac-12. I thought DTR looked good. Horrible fumble there early on with when Washington had control and they did a goal line stand, then they fumbled in the end zone for a safety that let UCLA in the game, and it was Bruins the rest of the way, wasn't it? That was great.
Yeah. I can't believe. I mean, there was a minute that I thought that game might be going to overtime because Washington not only was coming back and scoring, they were getting 2-point conversions. So it was kind of nuts. I mean, UCLA had kind of a mini meltdown defensively. When you're up 40-16 at home, you can't blow a lead like that.
You know what the most surprising part about that game was to me was the crowd. We joked about it. That crowd, I mean, now look, they didn't pack out the Rose Bowl, but that was a pretty boisterous crowd that was actually into the game.
Okay,
I was surprised.
They were into the game, and you can pop up mics as much as you want, Brownie. I'm going to check while you continue to talk about other stuff. I'm going to check official attendance.
All right. Well, you do that real quick.
What do you think it was? What do you think
it was? 38,000.
That's what I was going to say, LT. I bet it was 35,000.
They hit 50. Think about it now. 50 is about half the stadium. You don't think that stadium was half full?
No, because they have big tarps at each end that say UCLA that covers up entire sections.
That's part of the half that's not full. It is the Johnston RV Center Saturday preview, johnstonrvcenter.com. Hey, I've got some new stuff. I don't know if it's supposed to start yet, though. I need to check on that. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. They are clearing out the 02s or the 22s, making room for the 23s. I'm sure they've sold all their 02s. Making room for the 23s means you can get a great deal. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, johnstonrvcenter.com. And thank you to Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Great way to start your Saturday tailgate.
Yeah,
if you're watching us on
night.
YouTube. Oh, were you? Hang on.
Yep.
Was it good?
It was good. I had the chicken finger platter. Maggie had a chicken sandwich. I got, of course, the tamales. 41,348 people. That's the number of people that went through Champy's last night and also inside the Rose Bowl.
Same one and the same, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, it sounded good. I mean, they at least had the mics cracked up, so it sounded like, people were actually at the stadium paying attention to the game, which is more than you can normally say for a game at the Rose Bowl. By the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, do so now, please, and set your alerts so you always know we're live. If you're on Twitter, fire off a retweet and let people know we're on. The more people watching, the more we get in the comments, more games we get to. We're about to start the games right now. And if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure to give us a thumbs up, like us as well, share us there on Facebook, like us on Twitch, like us on Twitter, everywhere. All right. So you guys ready to get to the games? We'll talk a few games here.
Let's do it.
11 o'clock starts. Wisconsin -6.5 hosting Illinois. I put this in my pick 3 yesterday. I'll start with you, LT. I know you don't like 11 o'clock games, so we can speak freely on these. Illinois at Wisconsin. This Wisconsin team has been disappointing this year.
Yeah, and look, in Illinois' defense, I mean, Brett Bielema's got him. He's a really, really good coach. I don't think we give him enough credit. I know when you look at Sam Pittman and the job he's done at Arkansas, people tend to forget about Brett Bielema. But go back to his Wisconsin days, going to multiple Rose Bowls, winning Big Ten titles. A guy that, at Arkansas was a steady 7 or 8 win guy. And now he's got Illinois coming back a little bit. Tommy DeVito at quarterback, much better offense this year, but the defense is locked down. If they can contain Braylon Allen, Graham Mertz is not a quarterback. He just really hasn't progressed. So I like Illinois in this spot. I think they can win the game outright.
Yeah, a chance that a DeVito of Illinois is the better quarterback in this game, at least the way he's playing right now. This game is going to look a lot to me like Bobby Petrino going back to Fayetteville with Bielema going back to Camp Randall. I think he scares the heck out of them. I would take Brown. I don't remember your pick yesterday. Did you take Illinois inside the number?
I did. At the time, it was 7. It's down to 6.5 now.
Yeah, I think you have bought into a service this year. I don't know if you're getting Lance's locks or something else. That is the super dog. Everyone's was talking about earlier on game day. Illinois with the upset seems to be the play.
Dunaway, it's not Lance'sLock.com. This is an 11 o'clock kick. He doesn't touch 11 o'clock kicks.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he doesn't give you that play out the back door. Somebody's helping you with your picks this year. You're not this smart.
Hey, by the way, here's a storyline that's not going to affect any of us, but will affect many in our audience. Chase says Dish just cut all the ESPN ABC channels because their deal with Disney expired. Chris, no Disney channels on Dish. So effing pissed. We got a lot of people weighing in. Jay, my buddy has Dish. Saw this morning. No warning. Just cut them. How about that? What if you woke up on a college football Saturday and found out you didn't have ESPN?
Yeah, I don't know what you do.
I would never use that company. I would never use that company again. And I recommend all of you, if you've got good internet, just go jump on YouTube TV. You can sign up instantly, and you can play. If you've never signed up before, you get 7 days free to try it out. So if you're a Dish person, just go jump on YouTube TV. What's the other one we use to steal to borrow the Pac-12 network? Fubo.
Fubo, yeah, Fubo.
Fubo.
I've got a Pac-12 app now, so.
Look at LT.
Yeah. I'll get you guys hooked up.
That's what Clapp mentioned to us, right? Watching it on the app.
Yeah.
So, hey, by the way, Dunaway, when you cancel Fubo, I don't know if Lance noticed this. When you cancel Fubo before the thing expires, like I did it right after the end of the USC Oregon State game, just so I wouldn't forget. And when you cancel it, it asks, can you please tell us why you cancel? And one was like, didn't like the quality. One was like, didn't have the channel I wanted. One literally says you could click on, I just wanted it for a free game.
Yeah.
They know. They know what you're doing.
Love the honesty.
Yeah, I clicked it too. I was honest with them. Let's see. Philip's watching us from the hometown of Arnold Palmer this morning. Latrobe, Pennsylvania, in case you're wondering. Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
You know what else is at Latrobe?
Rolling Rock.
Rolling Rock, very good.
Rolling Rock beer. How about that? Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
I used to drink Rolling Rock a little bit when I was a kid.
I did too. I did too. It was a high school beer. I don't know why.
That's a Big Ten Network game, by the way, at 11. Another 11 o'clock game. Purdue rowing the boat at Minnesota. 9.5. Team that loves to pass, team that loves to run. ESPN 2, 11 o'clock. Dunaway. You got a thought on this one?
O'Connell's going to play Purdue with the upset here.
Ooh.
I don't think they pull the upset. I think Minnesota's too good. Minnesota's one of 8 FBS teams that's 8-0 against the number, 4-0 against the number this year. You look at Ibrahim, just his ability he's got 13 straight 100-yard games. I think he'll run all over that defense. I think Purdue can score a little bit. Minnesota's defense has been one of the best in college football. They just really hadn't played anybody.
So, Dunaway, the Big Ten does the same thing as the NFL?
That's right. We'll go back to Thursday night. Big Ten West. It all funnels back to the middle this year.
It really does.
I think Minnesota is really good.
So you think Minnesota goes to the Big Ten championship, LT?
Yes. And
especially, I agree with that.
If we get the Illinois upset today, it's almost – well, let's see what Iowa does against Michigan. But if Michigan takes care of business, Illinois upsets Wisconsin, and Minnesota does what they need to do today, you can almost go on and pencil them in.
11 o'clock ESPN LT. The return of Chris Rodriguez. Kentucky needs him. They're 13th in the conference in rushing offense. They are catching 6.5 at number 14 Ole Miss. ESPN 11 o'clock. That's the Sean McDonough Todd Blackledge game. Which, by the way, I pay attention to this stuff. I don't know if most people do. They've started giving them the 11 o'clock game. They used to keep those guys for like the ESPN primetime game opposite ABC. They're getting a lot of 11 o'clock games now. Kentucky at Ole Miss, LT, and Ole Miss is -6.5 in this one.
Yeah, before I get to that, I think the reason is I think they're getting a little threatened by Fox in their 11 o'clock game.
That's a great point, LT. Maybe they've decided we're going to devote one of our really good crews here to try to help out. We're not just going to throw a bad crew on a sleepy 11 o'clock game.
Yeah,
well, with that said,
it's not a sleepy 11 o'clock game, though, LT. To LT's point, they've got where they not always, but that's a better matchup than sending him to LSU and Auburn tonight, which is the 6 o'clock ESPN game. So what they've started to do is not necessarily put the better secondary SEC game at 6 o'clock in prime time, opposite of their ABC game. They're throwing it at 11 o'clock sometimes and pulling you in straight out of game day and contesting the big noon kickoff. I think it's a smart move. That's a much better game than LSU Auburn.
I think one thing to look at, not only Chris Rodriguez coming back, and you talked about this, Brown, Kentucky's only averaging 2.4 yards per carry. That's 123rd nationally. But you got to look at Ole Miss and the pressure they've been able to apply defensively. Right now, Ole Miss is got 13 sacks, second in the SEC. Kentucky has allowed 16 sacks, the most in the SEC. Reason I love Ole Miss in this spot, again, I wanted to play them, but 11 o'clock, I'm not going to. So if you're out there, to me, it's almost free money with Ole Miss. I think Will Levis is going to have a meltdown game today.
The old meltdown game.
Well, it's hard to have a meltdown when you're handing it off all the time, which is what they should do against Ole Miss today. We'll see. J.J. Pegues is back for Ole Miss on the defensive tackle front. Remember, tight end from Auburn, now a big DT for the Rebs. He's back today. But my question for you, LT, Zach Evans, who they limited against Tulsa to get him 100% healthy, more rushing yards with him or Quinshon Judkins today?
I'm going to go Zach Evans because I do think that they have limited him to try to get him 100% for this game. Judkins has been great. He's second nationally amongst freshmen with 424 yards right now rushing. So it's that Lane Kiffin system. We don't give him enough credit for what they do on the ground. I mean, they lead the SEC right now with almost 281 yards on the ground per game. But I think Zach Evans has a big day today.
The only thing that scares me, Brown, about this game is Ole Miss has not been tested at all.
Nope.
All due respect to Troy and Central Arkansas and Georgia Tech and Tulsa. The fact that Tulsa scared them last week is a frightening thing to me if I'm Lane Kiffin. And he's been griping about the crowd and stuff. It's the opportunity, and I like Kentucky today. So everyone I know that I respect seems to be picking Ole Miss. So I guess that's the layman play. Kentucky, that's who I'm on today. And the fact that they've gone already on the road and won at a hostile Florida, with Florida coming off that win on Utah, I like that on their resume. So I like Kentucky.
Something that will not impact the outcome of the game, but I got a kick out of it. I love our boy Mincy from Barstool, been in studio with us. The dude tweeted out his ticket earlier. Which is that's a horrible idea, Mincy. And everybody in the comments is like, dude, you might want to take this down. So anybody can use that ticket now. And he's just still got it up there. I love Mincy, but what are you doing, man?
Yeah, well, it becomes better content for him, right? If he's at the gate trying to get in and they're like, sorry, this ticket's already been scanned, sir. And then he can go
taking it.
He can go
he's
crazy.
Taking it down. I just checked. He's finally taking it down. Thank goodness, Mincy.
I think he probably could find a ticket based on Lane Kiffin's comments, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. It should be a tough game to get into, is what Lane says. Quick sidetrack here. Michael says, did you guys see there was a guy from Italy watching around the time LT said he had an Italian salad? I did not see that.
No, I didn't see that.
That was yesterday's show.
I don't know why that was such a big deal with Rockstar that I had an Italian salad. Is that weird?
I don't know. It's Rockstar.
I mean, is it offensive? Is that what he's trying to say? Because I get a Greek salad. I get an Asian salad. I mean, I get all kinds of salads. I get a Mexican bowl.
I think it's Rockstar being Rockstar. A Big 12 game, also in the 11 o'clock window. This is a really good game to be streaming only, but it is streaming only, ESPN+. Texas Tech at number 25, Kansas State. Dunaway, K-State coming off the big upset. Texas Tech coming off the big upset, so you can't play that angle. -7.5 for K-State.
There's something about this one, LT, that wants me to take Texas Tech, and I don't know why. Is it because Kansas State just beat Oklahoma, who's a better team than Texas Tech beating Texas? Kansas State at home, Adrian Martinez. Can we call it a reclamation project? if he continues to have a good year. Is that a good word for Adrian Martinez? What a great moment for him. He may not be able to connect, two great moments together. Maybe he's Bo Nix of the Big 12, formerly of the Big 10, that he can't connect, a string of great games together. Bo's done it twice in a row now out at Oregon. We'll see if Martinez can do it today. Some reason, and I'm only got this pick in one of my 25 picks after making the office pool I'm in, but I'm going to take Texas Tech in the 7.5 here with no reason except for some reason that Texas Tech team looks a little talented at the skill positions for me.
Well, look, I am prepared to go steak. I'm terrible with games on either Kansas State or Ole Miss, the home teams. Look, I think Kansas State is about to start rolling. I still think they have an opportunity to win the Big 12, as crazy as that sounds. You saw them flex last week in Norman, and, they exploded. Now, if Adrian Martinez plays clean football, I mean, his ability to run and extend plays, and then Deuce Vaughn is one of the best players nobody talks about. Under Chris Kleiman as a favorite, they are 12-5-1 in Big 12 play. That's the best cover percentage for any Big 12 team since 2019. So I think they take care of business here against a Texas Tech team that is tricky, but they're coming off that huge emotional win over Texas.
So just Dunaway for keeping score. So far in the first 16 minutes we've been on, LT is leaning Minnesota playing in the Big Ten championship game and Kansas State playing in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, which probably makes those blowouts, right? Ohio State and, the Big 12 is anybody. I mean, it could be Kansas State versus Texas Tech at this point, right? When we all get to
Baylor,
the end.
Yeah, who knows? Speaking of the Big 12, 11 o'clock ABC game, Oklahoma, TCU, Dunaway. I think TCU's looked pretty good. Oklahoma coming off that tough loss. TCU is only in Fort Worth a 5.5-point underdog.
Yeah, and that's an interesting game, because Sonny Dykes has got his system in place there quickly. He's got a couple of quarterbacks. One's coming back. It's going to make it a healthier quarterback room. And for Brent Venables, I don't think you really know what kind of coach you're going to be, or you don't really face your first big obstacle until you have to pick a team up from a loss where people don't think you should have lost the football game. And so there's no moral victory. If you play a game and you're supposed to win, you're not supposed to win the game, but you play them close, you can walk away with a moral victory. We're building the program. But when you're Oklahoma, and even though Kansas State's now beaten them 3 of the last 4 years, that's not a game that Oklahoma folks thought they were supposed to lose. So Brent Venables has to piece together with all and not a lot of people stayed in Norman. A lot of them went with Lincoln Riley, but he's got to convince those guys in the room that he knows what he's doing. A lot of pressure on Venables this week. It's a dangerous game for Oklahoma. That number is a weird number, LT. Layman play is Oklahoma and give the 5.5. I'm interested to hear what you think on this.
Well, Oklahoma's 6-1 against the number. Their last 7 out against TCU. This will be the first Big 12 game for Sonny Dykes. I think he's got a heck of a quarterback in Max Duggan that can actually make plays against this Oklahoma defense, going back last week to what Adrian Martinez was able to do. I think it's going to be a tight game. I really do. I think Venables is going to end up being a good coach in Oklahoma. I don't know if he's going to get to the heights of Bob Stoops or Lincoln Riley, but I think he's going to do a good job there. This is a tough spot for Oklahoma. I think TCU wins the game outright. I really do. And people will start to say that Brent Venables isn't the right coach for that program. But I'll say it again. I've been using this wording over and over again. They're not fully cooked. You got to give him another year. This transitional year, what Lincoln Riley did in year 1 is just not the norm. But I think Brent Venables will be fine. But I think it's a tricky game today.
One more 11 o'clock game before we move on. NH3425 says Iowa won't do anything against Michigan LT. If that is the case, Michigan minus 10.5 in Iowa City would be a good play for him. The first big test for the Wolverines on the road here.
Kinnick is the Jordan Hare of the Big Ten.
It is. Yesterday, I think you might be right.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I don't know. Blake Corum's really good, but outside of that, can J.J. McCarthy win you a football game? I was only giving up 23 total points this year, the fewest in the FBS. So, this is an Iowa team last year. The offense was terrible. They only averaged 24 points per game, but they won 10 games. It's going to be the same kind of thing because the defense is that good. And J.J. McCarthy, I don't know if he can make plays against this defense. I mean, they're just going to focus on shutting down Corum And I think it's a tricky spot for Michigan. I think Michigan wins the game, but I think it's tight.
Yeah, Iowa's defense is not the problem. It's been them scoring points, obviously. And I agree with you on my notes right here. I've got just this fact. J.J. McCarthy will put Michigan in harm's way at some point this year, just with his – that's why he has to, look over his shoulder at the quarterback who's behind him, because the guy who led him to the playoffs last year is the quarterback manager. He's the guy who managed the game and doesn't make any mistakes. No wow plays, but he doesn't make any mistakes. McCarthy's always been – the stronger arm, the guy who could make some unbelievable plays, but he was also the guy who could throw you out of a game or fumble you out of the game. And just last week against Maryland, there were 2 plays where he's scrambling around and he made boneheaded decisions that they were able to survive, and it did not kill them. And you do that at this stadium where LT mentioned the last 6 top 5 teams have gone in there. 5-1 Iowa is against, not top 10, not ranked, top 5 teams. So this is the Jordan Hare of the Big Ten. Tough game for Michigan. I would take Michigan because I love Blake Corum, and I think he's that good. He runs against 7 and 8 man boxes all the time. But this is a scary game. And the only reason Michigan wins it, I think, is because Iowa's offense is that bad.
Kendall likes Iowa by a touchdown. Our buddy Don Korn says go blue. So they're splitting the comments there on that one. It is the JohnstonRVCenter.com Saturday preview. Don't forget Johnston RV clearing out the 2022s. How about that Clipper 9.0 TD Express, $139 a month, 10% down and approved credit. The 2022 Clipper 17 FQS, $179 a month, 10% down and approved credit. It goes on and on. They're clearing out those 22s to make room for the 23s. See more at JohnstonRVCenter.com or I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. And Dunaway, you were at Champy's last night. We love Sterling and the Champy's crew. What good tailgating food for that, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. You can get just pans of chicken fingers to go, those tamales, just fried chicken, all the great sides that go with it. I guess I've never gone back and sat at the bar before, but I was getting my food to go last night after being at Thompson High School. And so I went and made the order at the bar. So I sat down, and the place is packed. And, it was packed before the Thompson game. This was after the Thompson game had kicked off. It was about 8:00. And I had to wait for a parking spot in the parking lot. That many people at Champy's last night, so good for them. But I sat down at the bar, and I don't know if we talk about how great the bar is there, not just the beer selection, but I'm going to put it as one of my top 5 margaritas of all time.
Whoa!
And it comes in a mason jar with some salt around the rim, and they mix it in front of you there. It was a surprising find there at Champy's world famous fried chicken, but it shouldn't surprise me. Everything is good there. And so a nice little mason jar margarita, very country feel to it as I waited on my food to go.
Jay says he loves sitting at that bar. Great beer selection too, he says.
Cool place, no doubt.
It is. We love Sterling and those guys. All right, listen, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you've subscribed and set alerts so you know when we're live. We'll be live later on tonight with our post game. So set alerts so you know when we go live there. If you're watching us on Twitter, if you don't mind, fire off a retweet so more people could join us in the chat there, and give us a thumbs up there as well. Share us and thumbs us up on Facebook, and like us on Twitch as well. All right, let's move to the 1:00 slate. Pac-12 Network. LT will watch on his pirated app as Utah plays host to Oregon State -10.5. LT, I know you like Jonathan Smith and this Oregon State team, but they got an early road game here. I think maybe early plays to their advantage. Utah can be a tough place to play. I'd rather play there early than late, though.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. That is an early kick in Salt Lake City. Oregon State, one of 8 FBS teams, 4-0 against the number this year. I like Utah. Tavion Thomas running the football. Oregon State's a good team, but on the road after that tough emotional loss to USC, I think Utah Flex is way too physical in this game, and they'll be able to run it down the Beavers' throat.
Yeah, I like Utah by a lot, LT, because it happens. I mean, we're only human. The most meaningful game Utah played was against Florida in the opener, and they lost, and we forgot about them. But there was a reason why we had Utah as a top 10 team in the preseason. And Oregon State, they'll lose this game today. Oregon State will, and we should not think less of them that they've dropped a close one to USC and then lost to Utah. Still a really good football team. But I'm with you. This Utah team. We're going to, at the end of the year, we may be looking back saying, how did they lose at Florida?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all. And they did everything.
they were driving and they were throwing into the end zone to win the football game. So it's not like that game got out of hand in Gainesville. They were on a game-winning drive that would have them, contending for a national championship right now.
Hey, I failed to mention this earlier. Go to Next Round Store right now, the Next Round Store, nextround.store, nextround.store, code October, and you don't pay shipping. Just use the code October here on October 1st at checkout, and you do not pay shipping on your order. Nextround.store this weekend, nextround.store, code October.
Can I say something about the store real quick? I noticed this last night at Thompson. Somebody had a hat on that I had never seen before, a color that I'd never seen before. And I know all of you probably already know this, but if you see an item, it may not be the only color we have. So if you click on that item you like, you may have a choice of colors. There was one hat like this one right here, Brown, that comes in a sort of a crimsony red as well. I didn't know that existed until I saw somebody with that at the Thompson game last night.
Okay, I am told, and hopefully Lunsford's going to update the graphic here. Actually, he grouped it's 15% off. It's not just shipping, boys. It's 15% off we're doing today. Look out.
Hey, and I hate to bring this up, but we're only like quick math.
Yeah.
We're close to Christmas. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, 15% off everything in the store when you use code Next Round. And as much as we've done away, still the OG shirt is one of my favorites. This is the softest, most comfortable shirt on. I wear it all the time.
Yep, I do love it. I love all our hat selections too. Now, just clarify, it's 15% off, not free shipping, or is it 15% and free shipping? Do we know?
It is 15% off everything.
Okay, so no free shipping.
Yeah, Lunsford says 15% off everything. Code October.
Okay,
gets you 15% off. All right, let's move on. Did we do Wake Florida State? We did not. Let's start with that one. 2:30 ABC. Wake at Florida State. The weather has cleared out. LT. Florida State is -6.5 in this game. You know already. I like Wake. Dunaway's doing the tomahawk chop. Yeah. He's either Braves or Wake right now.
This is your free lock. It's my favorite play on the board today. I think Florida State coming off that bye, Wake coming off a tough emotional overtime loss to Clemson. Jordan Travis has a huge game. I like Florida State. Again, they're getting better and better. I think, and they've got swagger finally for the first time in years.
I was doing it with the left hand, Brown, which is a show of disrespect. I think Wake Forest wins this game. I think they bounce back. I like Sam Hartman, back healthy, no concerns anymore. And the offense played well enough to win last week against Clemson. I think Clemson's a good football team. The party ends for Florida State. They had to rally and find a way to beat LSU, and they did. And then they held on at the end when they were about to lose the game. The Louisville game almost got away from them. Wake Forest is better than Louisville. They may be better than LSU. I'll take Wake Forest in this today. I think we already have a stake on this one, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of which, by the way, you mentioned the tomahawk chop. Braves win last night. How about that?
Yeah, deadlocked. 5 games
deadlocked.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun down the stretch.
I'll go right-handed chop on that one.
Okay, I got you.
Go Braves.
Back to the Big 12. Top 20 matchup: Oklahoma State at Baylor. Rematch of last year's Big 12 championship game. It is the 2:30 Fox game. Dunaway. Baylor, the Bears at home in Waco, catching 2.5. Good offense versus good defense in this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, how many times when you're a quarterback that you throw 4 interceptions in the Big 12 championship game last year, as Spencer Sanders do, and you come back and you play that same team again? That's got to be in the back of your head. So I don't think he's going to be playing loose and carefree today. I think he'll be a little tight. I think Oklahoma State's the better football team, but I'm sort of going with Dave Aranda and Baylor here.
Well, it's going to be interesting because you guys talked about Ole Miss hasn't been tested. Oak State hasn't been tested. Now they lead the nation almost 52 points per game. They're 5-0 against the number on the road since the start of last season. And they're really good in this spot. 10-2 against the number as a dog since 2018. That's the best cover percentage in the FBS over that span. I can't get a feel for this game because I just don't know what to expect from Oklahoma State. Their defense was so good last year. Offense looks really good this year, but they're about to play a really good defense in Baylor. So this is one of those games I completely stayed away from.
I mean, and Spencer Sanders has started so many games, right? And on the other side, Blake Shapen's a 5 or 6 game starter for the Baylor Bears. So, experience at one quarterback. And I forget what the stat is, but we talked about it earlier this week on the show, the live show, 9 to 1 Central during the week on our app and video platforms where you're watching us now. that Gundy is really good in tight games, like 3.5 point favorites or 3.5 point underdogs, those small numbers. So Gundy's really good in these games. So I'm leaning Baylor in this one, but I'm like you, LT. This one's a toss-up. This is actually one of the better games of the day. Looking forward to watching that one at 2:30.
By the way, mentioning the store, Brett in New Mexico says LT 75 days till Christmas.
Okay, very good, Brett.
Yeah. Shane says, Dunaway, that Carolina blue hat is fire emoji. It's a great golf hat, Dunaway. I wear it on the golf course all the time. It's actually, I don't want to get golf geek here on you. Imperial makes that one, and they do good golf hats. So that's what that is Dunaway has on.
This is, in fact, the next year of golf gear that the guys made fun of that eventually did come into the store. That Lunsford and Brown used to laugh about. Oh, we're going to get golf gear right here.
Jake says, LT, 300 shows till Christmas.
Lunsford says 292 shows until Christmas.
Lunsford says only 292. Iowa State at Kansas. I laughed at LT when he said, I think Iowa State can win at Kansas. It's just such a funny sentence because you never say it. ESPN 230, Kansas at home, LT catching 3.5.
Jalen Daniels is a great story. A kid that's been in that program for 3 years and has finally got good coaching, and that offense is popping. Their defense is no good. But they've covered 7 straight games going back to last season. They're a fun team to watch. I've got to play on this game. I'm going to stay away from it. It's one of my 7 plays today. But this is an interesting game. I will tell you, Iowa State has not been good in this spot, though. Matt Campbell, for whatever reason, games where they're between 3-point favorites and 3-point dogs, he's got an awful record.
Yeah. This is one of those that I could pull the play out of him, Brown, if I said I'll take Texas for a steak, and then he would if he said yes, then we'd know which way he's playing. If he said no, we'd know which he is playing. So I won't do that.
So
but
you're not going to do that to him.
I have not liked Kansas a couple of times this year, and they've won. For some reason, I like Kansas today. I just don't believe this Iowa State team is as good as the record shows right now. I think a good win over Iowa, but I think Kansas keeps it alive today.
All right. It is the JohnstonRVCenter.com Saturday preview. We're about to talk Alabama, Arkansas. Remember, at Johnston RV Center, though, right now they're closing out the 2022s. That means a great fifth wheel, like the Wildcat 302BH fifth wheel, $399 a month, 10% down, and approved credit. You got room for the whole family in that one. You can see all of their stock that they are clearing out and making room for the 23s at JohnstonRVCenter.com. That's JohnstonRVCenter.com. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Also, thank you to Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. If you're headed down to the Plains tailgate for Auburn LSU, swing by Champy's and get all that great tailgate stuff from the great chicken fingers, po' boys, Delta tamales, desserts, all that at Champy's. Or if you're just watching the games at home, let them cater your college football Saturday. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you've given us a thumbs up there and like and subscribe, set alerts so that you know when we are live. We'll be live later on. If you're on Twitter, fire off or retweet of this show. Give us a thumbs up there as well. Share us on Facebook, like us there, and like us on Twitch. And don't forget, nextround.store, code October gets 15% off your purchase through the weekend. Code October at nextround.store. All right, 2:30 CBS. Alabama on the road at Fayetteville, Dunaway. The Tide has struggled on the road over their last 5 or 6 games away from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Does that change today?
I'll save LT's thought on that one because he made a good point about Alabama and Arkansas and the struggles on the road for the Crimson Tide. But I'm interested to see who gets back into the lineup for Alabama. Is this the game that JoJo Earle comes back? And if he does come back, do they use him at returning kicks or punts, which is something that he was doing before his injury? Or do they need him so much? The wide receiver is a deep threat. Do they not, replace Kool-Aid or anybody else back there returning kicks? So that's the first thing I'll be watching today. And the second thing I'll be watching today is Jahmyr Gibbs running the football, but also, catching, maybe working the edges on toss sweeps or, whatever you call what we do to get people on the edge today, or swing passes. Gibbs getting more touches today. And does JoJo Earle play? And is he the guy that takes the top off for this Alabama passing game against a depleted secondary for the Hogs? They got to do something to slow down that pass rush for the Hogs because they're so good defensively. But LT, you have a thought about Alabama's road troubles, and you made a good
let me
point this
bring
week.
this up first, though. I did get somebody did tell me that Alabama's got some injured players that they haven't announced yet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find out.
News from the locker room. 17 and a half Alabama is in this one, LT, with injured players.
Trying to figure out who those guys are. Hopefully I'll be able to release that here in a minute.
Well, the first one, if it doesn't rhyme with dice or Tice, then
I love when you do this.
It may not concern me. But if it rhymes with dice or Tice, then I'm concerned.
Dunaway always says, does it rhyme with dice tongue?
Yes.
I think this is finally, I don't even know if, I'm sure Nick Saban knew this, how bad they've struggled on the road as far as like an elite program. Because, we got used to watching Alabama just dominate. And Brown, you said it yesterday, they'd be up 21-0 in the first quarter on the road. And we haven't seen that over the last couple of seasons. And so I think now that the media is making a big point of this, I think Nick Saban internally has sold his guys. I think they're going to be super focused in this game. Again, Saban, we know, has won all 15 of his matchups against Arkansas since he's been at Bama. Arkansas hasn't beaten the top 5 teams since 2007, 17 straight losses. Alabama wins this game.
Yeah. Jordan Battle, if that's who it is, would be, I think, and he was, looked like he had a little bit of a tender hamstring there against Vandy. Don't want to speculate too much on that. If it is Jordan Battle, though, Dunaway, having a one of the best safeties in America, a guy out of that secondary against a quarterback like KJ Jefferson, would be a significant loss for Alabama.
Yeah, Battle dealt with that hamstring and came out of the last game. He was listed day to day when Coach talked about it earlier this week. Byron Young, another guy who had a pretty significant ankle sprain, also was listed day to day. So if it's those two, that's at least guys we saw get hurt in a game. You always are fearful for things that happen in practice that nobody sees, and that could be a bigger story. So LT, with that information, I can't wait to get more on that as we get closer to kick.
All right, let's go to Texas A&M, Mississippi State. LT, A&M is on the road. State favored 4.5 in this one, the total of 46. SEC Network, 3 o'clock.
A&M, I'll bring this up again, 0-6 straight up under Jimbo Fisher as a road dog. A&M's only allowing 153 passing yards. That stops today. The only thing that scares me about this game, I stayed away from it because it seems like Mississippi State is becoming that trendy pick. And everybody's counting A&M out. And Mississippi State's -4, and it seems like people are playing Mississippi State. So that kind of scares me. I think Mississippi State's a better team. Texas A&M survived last week. Smith going down is going to be a big blow to them because they just don't have a lot of weapons. Watch for Evan Stewart, though, the true freshman, to make more of an impact. I think this will be a tight game, but I think I do think State wins. I'm not sure if they cover.
It's a fun matchup. It is my least favorite uniform matchup in the SEC.
I don't disagree with you.
Because there's so much alike at times. So hopefully somebody changes it up a little bit. One of them wears white helmets, but I hate both of their white helmets. So it's just a bad uniform game for me. But it'll be a great atmosphere in Starkville. They're the favorites. Everything says Mississippi State to me in this game. And it's hard to imagine that Jimbo Fisher would endure a 2-game losing streak to Mississippi State, which is what this would be for a guy who's making the kind of money. But the defense for Mississippi State never gets talked about. You guys talk about it more than anybody. Zach Arnett. Does A&M have an offense that can stress out a really good run-stopping defense in Zach Arnett's Bulldogs? And when you lose Smith, to me, only 2 guys made plays for that offense. It was Anaya Smith and A-Chain. So A-Chain, I don't know if he can have a big enough load of carrying the load on the offense to make up for what Will Rogers and that team will do. Fun game. I hate that it's going on at exactly the same time as Alabama, Arkansas, and Oklahoma State, Baylor.
Dunaway, I like it.
Florida State. I mean, 2:30 windows. Yeah, you got to pick your TVs.
Yep,
it's really good. Dunaway, I do like State when they go with those gray pants.
Me too. Best uniform.
That's the uniform of my childhood of Mississippi State. when they wear those gray pants, and that does make it a little bit better. But I don't disagree with you. That's not a great uniform matchup to me.
Yeah, I don't like maroon. I'm just not a maroon fan.
Yeah, it's a strong color, very bold color, Lance.
If I'm ranking uniform colors, maroon is 5.
Very
for
low,
me.
very low, huh?
Maroon 5.
Let's go back to the Pac-12 again. LT on his pirated app, Pac-12 Network. Washington State hosting Cal in Corvallis. Wazoo -4 in this game. Dunaway. This has been a better than expected Cal and Washington State team.
It is. Justin Wilcox is a guy who I respect a lot, but it never has been as good as I expected it to be at Cal. So maybe this is the year, with as precarious a situation as Cal in, if they don't get it absorbed into the Big Ten, maybe this is the year that he has a good enough record that he finds another job. I think he's a really, really good coach. But Cal's, I mean, I don't know if you rank the 10 toughest Power 5 jobs in college football. It doesn't take long to get to Cal, I think, LT.
Jeff Tedford, we don't give him enough credit for the job he did there. Now, he had a generational quarterback for a little bit in Aaron Rodgers, but that was a team that would have made a college football playoff back in 2003 or 2004. I forgot which year it was. Really, really good Cal team. Might have been 2005. Whenever Aaron Rodgers' final season was, they had one loss. It was to USC, and he played incredible against USC in that game. Justin Wilcox, 24-9 against the number as a dog.
Wow.
He's really, really good in this spot. And Cal has been kind of sneaky good. Washington State, I thought they had a really good defense until watching them in the second half last week against Oregon. I've got to play on this game. I've got to side on this game, so I'm going to stay away from it. But I'll just tell you guys this. It will be a really boring game.
Yeah. So
all right.
That one's under the radar for LT, it seems like. I lean Cal in this one for some reason, the respect for Justin Wilcox, but Washington State, that's a tough place to play, but I'm going to lean Cal.
Pullman, by the way, I said Corvallis, Pullman. Yeah. Forgive me for confusing my Pac-12 destinations there. Georgia Southern Fun Belt game at Coastal Carolina, LT. This was was going to be my double-digit dog, but it's down to 9.5 now. Coastal hosting on ESPN Plus. Georgia Southern -9.5.
Yeah, look, Jamie Caldwell has done an unbelievable job at Coastal, and Chadwell. Yeah. And Grace McCall's been there forever, but I kind of like both of you guys are on Georgia Southern. This number continues to move down. I don't know how good this Coastal team is. I really don't.
Yeah, and that's right. You've got a quarterback who probably has stayed there longer than he should. You hate to say that, but his reputation at one point, he was good enough to hit the portal and maybe play at a higher level, which could have increased his profile a little bit. And Jamie Chadwell's a guy who's getting mentioned for jobs out there, like the Georgia Tech job and others, I'm sure, when they pop open. One moment in time for Coastal Carolina, and I think that moment is past. I am all over Georgia Southern like Brown. Brown was the first one I heard call it earlier this week. Georgia Southern, despite what UAB did to them, I like Georgia Southern in this one.
Yeah, by the way, one of the games we talked about last night, Conference USA, 45-30 UTSA all over Middle Tennessee. We all saw that one coming, didn't we? And that was a beatdown. Hey,
and we didn't talk about this last night too, but Dana Holgerson appears to be the biggest asshole ever on the sideline. Is that possible? Is that a fair statement?
Well, it is.
He looks miserable, and I don't get it. I don't know if he's going through something.
Yeah.
But, we had him on the show that one time, and he was a lot of fun. I've always viewed him up until the last couple of years as kind of a carefree coach that people would love to play for. But I mean, he does seem like a dick now. And that was a tough loss. We had Tulane last night. They pretty much led the entire game. When Houston scored late there to go up 7, I thought the game was over.
It's funny you said that, LT, because I thought the same thing as I'm watching the game. I'm like, he's got something going on in his personal life, because it's like, he's snapping at coordinators. Now, not that anybody was doing their job, but I don't think he was helping the situation. He's snapping at coordinators. He's yelling at the fifth-year quarterback. And when they booed on the kneel down with 3 seconds left, which was the smart coaching call because they were going backwards, and they were just like, every time they ran a play, I said, they're about to throw this game away. He didn't flip them off, but he did this to the crowd. and he could have been flipping them off. The gestures, is everything but the middle fingers up, and he's doing that to his own home crowd there. Just was not a good look. I did not, but he did go over and sing the song at the end, whatever their sign is, former Southwest Conference sign is. He did sing the alma mater with the team, but it did not look like anybody on that sideline liked it.
I will say this. There's going to be a lot of job openings. I think that's going to be one open job. I think with the expectation, with really the resources Houston now has as a program, I think they're looking, they look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati was able to get to a college football playoff last year. Why can't we? They've got a bigger budget, and I think this is Holgerson's last year.
And they're moving to the Big 12. They got that Texas recruiting. They can, pick some off that some other teams want there. At the great call by you. I tweeted that last night. I felt like I'm watching the Revelations chapters of the Dana Holgerson career.
That's a little dramatic. He's about to get hit by hellfire and brimstone, huh?
Yes.
Hey, it is the JohnstonRVCenter.com Saturday preview. They are clearing out the 2022s to make room for the 23s there at Johnston RV Center, which means you get absolutely terrific deals. You can see those at JohnstonRVCenter.com. But that Clipper 9.0 TD Express, just $139 a month with 10% down. It's less than 1,500 pounds, so it's easy to tow. They've got that, and they go all the way up in Johnston RV Center. You can see great deals there. JohnstonRVCenter.com, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Also, thank you to Champy's world-famous fried chicken. Great idea for all your tailgating or dining in today and tonight for college football. Subscribe with us if you're watching on YouTube and set your alerts. Give us a thumbs up there as well. Shoot off a retweet and thumbs us up on Twitter. Share us and like us on Facebook as well and on Twitch. Speaking of that Cincinnati team, also don't forget Next Round Store, nextround.store. 15% off your entire order this weekend with code October as we enter the month of October. Go to nextround.store, enter code October, check out 15% off. Speaking of that Cincinnati team you mentioned, LT, if you want to look for a double-digit dog winning outright, it's still possible in Tulsa tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPNU. The Golden Hurricane catching 10, hosting the Bearcats.
Yeah, look, Tulsa's got a really good quarterback. The Bren kid has been there for a couple of years. They scared Cincinnati last year, the game they should have won. People are really starting to talk up Tulsa. And if you haven't watched Cincinnati, they've dropped off a little bit, but that's still a really good team. Ben Bryant's a really good quarterback.
They really are, but this seems like one of those places, one of these teams, LT, that I don't know if you can give me a Power 5 example of a team that always struggles. They may win, but they always struggle when they play that team on the road. And that just seems to be what this is for Cincinnati. So I expect this to be an entertaining and closer game, especially what Tulsa did with Ole Miss last week. But I'm with you. Luke Fickell's a great coach. He's got a good program there. Wouldn't surprise me if they contend for the Big 12 championship in their first year next year.
It's Oklahoma, Kansas State.
Oh, great example. There you go.
You're right. That's the one I thought of immediately. Hey, by the way, back to Houston. Paul says, weird thing is, Holgerson's been in 3 overtime games this year. He wins the Tulsa in all of them, and it's taken the ball first every time. I didn't notice that trend. Yeah, but that's totally against what everybody else does. Everybody plays defense first.
Well, having Tulane plus the went off at 5.5 last night, I was nervous once it went to overtime. I wanted Houston to win the toss and defer. They win the toss, and I was talking to a buddy on text going back and forth because what we wanted was Tulane to have the ball first, at least get 3, and then worst case lose by 3. And when they win the toss, you just don't see that. I mean, 99% of the time you go on defense.
Yeah. As I watched it happen, though, Brown, I thought to myself, you're right. I never have seen this before, but as it was, playing out and they only got a field goal, but I thought to myself, man, if you get a touchdown, that's really a big advantage to you. But if you don't get a touchdown, then that allows the other team to do what they did, double reverse pass on the first play and get a pass interference. Because worst case scenario, we're going to be trying a long field goal.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, Mississippi State might be in trouble. I just saw on SEC Nation, the entire panel took Mississippi State.
It's an entire panel game. Mississippi State. Gig 'em.
Jimbo's back.
All right. Hey, we always come back and make our official Alabama and Auburn plays at the end. But let's talk while we're in the 6 o'clock window, ESPN. Let's talk Auburn LSU. This game is now at 8. Dunaway, LSU favored 8, a total of 45. Feels like an under to me. LSU at Auburn, 6 o'clock. The Bengal Tigers, the Bayou Bengals, the Fighting Tigers, favored by 8.
You know, if we were playing this game at whatever the field is in Orlando, or if we were playing this at the Crampton Bowl, or if we were playing this at Legion Field or Protective Stadium, everyone would be like, LSU easy here, LSU easy here. But it's because it's Jordan-Hare Stadium. But we did that with the Penn State game too. We said, it's Jordan-Hare Stadium. That's the only reason I think Auburn can beat Penn State, Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Nowhere close.
Until they get an offense that can, scare 24 points consistently, until the defense plays a little bit better, it's hard to take Auburn. I saw earlier on game day where Pollock said, it's unfair to be talking about firing Brian Harsin for, what the performance on the field. If you're going to fire him, you fire him because he doesn't get Tank Bigsby. And I'm paraphrasing, but you fire him because he doesn't get Tank Bigsby the football enough. He says he should touch the ball 35 times today. That may be a tad too much.
That's heavy,
yeah. But David playing football back in the 70s. But I get his point. The best player on the field, you got to give him the ball a little bit more. But maybe it's just that they're so bad on the offensive line or whatever. It's hard to take Auburn in this situation. But I'll do it again, just like I did at Penn State. It's at Jordan-Hare Stadium. For some reason, I think Auburn's going to win this game.
Boy, that'd be a big win. That'd be a bad loss for Brian Kelly. Again, I think these are programs going in opposite directions right now. And this Auburn team, you can make the argument that they're the worst team in the SEC. I know that they're coming off a win right now, which seems like a loss, but they were gifted that win. And you look at Jaden Daniels. He's playing much better than I thought he would play. Now, this will be a test on the road, his toughest environment he's ever played in. I stayed away from this game. I think LSU wins. I don't know if they cover. I agree with Brown. I think this thing goes way under. I don't know how Auburn manufactures points, and I hate Tank Bigsby. And I think, Brown, you brought this point up a couple of weeks ago. It's like he's wasting his career, his college career.
Yep. It really is. Dunaway, do you agree? Total of 45 under feels like the play there, right?
I think if you put it at 35, I would almost play the under in this game. If Auburn's got a chance, it's got to stay under. So if it's going to scare 45, that may be an LSU blowout win. So I agree with everything you said, LT. But what if Auburn? I agree. I mean, both programs are passing each other in the night. But if Auburn wins this game, they're 2-0 in the SEC and 4-1 overall, and we're still waiting on this guy to get fired every weekend.
Yep. With Ole Miss coming up, a winnable game with Ole Miss coming up. NC State is at Clemson. That's the ABC Prime game tonight, 6:30. Clemson laying a touchdown at home in this one. The weather has cleared out. Should be a nice night there in Clemson, South Carolina. LT, you brought it up often. I heard Reese Davis before we started on game day today called Dave Doran the worst road team in Power 5 football against the spread or something like that. They've just not been good.
Yeah, 4-12 against the number in road games since 2019. And they're playing as a top 10 team for the first time since 2002 when Phillip Rivers was there in Chacamato wearing his Oakley blades back in the day. Clemson's been really good to spot 19-7-1 against the number as a top 10 under Dabo Swinney, 36 straight home wins. I brought this up yesterday, 63 straight wins when leading at halftime. Everything tells me Clemson in this game. I stayed away from it. I'm pulling hard for the Wolfpack. I really would love to see NC State win this game. And, if NC State does win this game, people will start to talk about this is a team that could easily be in a college football playoff.
If you watched the Wake Forest game last week, you knew that the Clemson secondary was already battered going into that game, and they had more injuries in that contest. So that's a concern, which could open things up for Devin Leary on the other side. But Clemson in this game at home, I'll take the Clemson Tigers. If for nothing else, the fact that NC State will take a very cool interlocking letter logo that they have and wear an oversized Wolfpack on their helmet today. When we're done, go look at game day. They've got the game helmet that they'll wear tonight, sort of a cherry red, and the Wolfpack is as big as it possibly. The wolf is as big as it possibly can be on the side of a helmet without it going to the other side of the helmet. It is the ugliest NC State helmet they possibly could put on the field.
Deep dive by Dunaway on a helmet there in this game.
Told you a bad DJ could cost him today.
Yep. You did
bad
say
DJ.
that. Yep. 6:30 FS1, Dunaway. Stick with you here. West Virginia on the road at Texas. The Horns are favored by 8. Pete Thamel on game day this morning saying Quinn Ewers will not play in this game. They're still targeting the Red River shootout to bring him back.
Yeah, and at least they know that going in, right? So they haven't been splitting reps or anything. So Hudson Card continues to get the first team reps. West Virginia probably deserves. I thought they deserved a better outcome than they got in the Pitt game. Going back to that first crazy atmosphere, what a great game that was. Was that week 0? That was first Thursday night. It was a Thursday night, and that was such a good game. But they bounced back and got a big win last week. So West Virginia's got a fighting chance in this one. But you've got Bijan Robinson, and who even this week, Henry To'oTo'o said is a beast. After Alabama kept him in check, they still respect that guy. Bijan Robinson has another big day. I like Texas to win this game at home. The point spread makes it interesting, but I think they cover. I'll take Texas by 10.
I'm going to recuse myself because it's one of my 7 plays. I do have a play on this game.
Give me UAB Rice then.
Well,
6:30 ESPN
I'll
Plus.
tell you
UAB
this.
Rice.
This game is going to be – there's going to be a statement made in the West Virginia-Texas game.
Interesting. UAB at Rice, LT. Rice is –
could that statement be that Steve Sarkisian's not the man?
No, well, I mean,
Neil Brown's not.
If Texas loses at home to West Virginia after losing at home last year to Kansas, coming off a loss to Texas Tech in a game they led by 14, that could be a statement. On the other side, if Texas comes out and just destroys West Virginia, this is a good sign for Sark bouncing back. Anyway, Dwayne McBride, 9 consecutive games with a touchdown, with a rushing touchdown. That's the longest current streak in the FBS right now. UAB can run the football against anybody, it looks like. Just got a sneaky feeling Rice keeps this under the number. I didn't play it. I almost gave out Rice, kind of wanted to. I think this could be a tie game, but I think UAB wins.
For me in this one, one thing's a fact, I believe. Dwayne McBride's rushing stats on average will drop a little bit because he's averaging 200 yards a game. He may only go for like 190 today. So his stats will drop. He's played in 2 games. He's got 400 yards rushing.
Bold statement there.
It's an amazing stat. So you think he goes over 200 to keep that to raise the stat? I don't either. So just one of those mathematical things. He's good. They got a stable of running backs. The quarterback's playing good for UAB. I like the Blazers in this game, and they got a little payback they have for Rice here. So it's a big game.
All right, before we go on the record, Alabama and Auburn, Will says, LT, give me a game you felt good about but didn't quite pull the trigger on. What missed the cut? Give me one that missed the cut.
Rice was one of those. USC tonight.
Yeah, we can get to that. Big number there.
Yeah, and it continues to go up. I think it's around 28.5 now, but I think Lincoln Riley will come out and after the offense was so stagnant last week, I think he'll try to prove a point against an Arizona State team that has kind of tapped out already, October 1st. Ole Miss, I loved Ole Miss. I liked Iowa. I like Kansas State. There's 3 for you, and then Rice. That's a 4 or 5 with USC. So
a lot on the cutting room floor there.
Yeah.
Here's my 4. If you guys want to fade Dunaway, I like Kentucky. I like Kansas. So UK, KU, Rock Chalk, Georgia Southern, and Mississippi State. Those are the 4 I like.
Okay, I definitely think with you have solidified Ole Miss and A&M.
All right, Dunaway, Bama minus 17. I think 17.5 now. 17.5 in Fayetteville. Where are you going?
Well, I mean, this scares me now because LT's got me waiting for the shoe to drop on some injury news that
I can't get it.
Yeah, we're waiting to find out what that is. But I like Alabama in this game. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere early. But hopefully we see a run game established with Jace and Jahmyr Gibbs and Roydell and anybody else who wants to run today. Lineup guys will run the football. And then I'm hoping JoJo Earl comes back, and I'm hoping he can take the top off. I'm going to take Alabama, and I'll take Alabama winning this one by 20.
Here's the way I will set it up. I said early in the week Arkansas had a chance to win. I said yesterday I didn't think that was the case because I thought Alabama was going to be super focused. I did give out a play on this game, so I'll stay away from it. Big number, though. Big number.
Michael says, LT, when we're going to find out? Will you tweet it out, LT, if you get confirmation on it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out right now, and it might not be for public knowledge. I don't know why it would really matter because it's game day, but.
Let's go to Auburn then. Dunaway, we kind of know where you stand. You said you think Auburn wins this game. The Auburn Tigers catching 8 at home with LSU. You like Auburn, and you'll take all those points.
I'll take Auburn 15, LSU 13.
That's about the way they would win it if they win it. You're absolutely right.
You want to go? Look, I've got again. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't have a play on that game, but I'm willing to take LSU.
Yeah, you do have stakes to play with. There's a reason why you've got stakes to play with because I take bets like that. No. We're invested today with Wake Forest, right?
Yep.
All right. I like Bama minus the 17. I like LSU minus the 8. Those are my official picks there. All right. Set your alerts so you'll know when we're live later. Thank you to JohnstonRVCenter.com for bringing you the show. Don't forget to go see them. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, always online. JohnstonRVCenter.com as they clear out those 2022s to make room for the 23s, giving you great deals. Champy's world famous fried chicken, great place for you to go for your tailgating needs and your party needs for this college football Saturday. Give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you've subscribed and set your alerts on YouTube so when you know when we're live. Follow us at Next Round Live, at Jim Dunaway, at The Lance Taylor, at Ryan Brown Live. We'll tweet out when we go live after the games tonight. Give us a thumbs up there. Like this and share it on Facebook. Watch us there as well for after the game and on Twitch. All right, boys, enjoy your football Saturday. We'll see you guys after the game.
See you guys.